Can't remember if this was added last update or the update before, but the game mode Epicenter is now a part of World of Warships Legends in the high tiers. Hello, I am Xarkun, and this is World of Warships Legends. Today we're going to be in the legendary tier American Super Heavy Cruiser, I guess you could call it, the USS Alaska, on an Epicenter match on the, Tears of the Desert map. And I want to talk a little bit about how to play Epicenter, and also talk about some differences between Epicenter on Legends and the Epicenter game mode on PC, because I absolutely despise the Epicenter game mode on PC, and I don't think it is necessarily the greatest game mode on Legends either, but there is one improvement, and the improvement is on PC. If your team captures the center circle of the Epicenter ring, it is worth more points than the middle ring, and then the middle ring is worth more points than the outer ring. But on Legends, it appears that the value of points you get from each ring and the center is 3. Just like the capture circles every tick. If you capture a capture circle in domination mode, it gives you 3 points every tick. If you capture a ring in Epicenter, it gives you 3 points every tick. This is not quite how it works on PC, and so you can see things really begin to snowball. If one team on the PC captures the center ring and like the middle ring or something like that, then they really are able to gain a points lead very, very quickly. And that is sort of the case here, but since the points amounts are equal, it's not quite as bad. However, in order to not lose instantly, your destroyers really, really need to push the center of the Epicenter circle. Like my destroyers right now, we can see we have one in the outer ring, sort of to the right of my ship over there. And the other destroyer that we have is outside of the rings. If you're going to be in a destroyer on an Epicenter match, you need to get into the rings. You can see that the enemy has successfully captured the middle ring. They are working on the center with no opposition. And there is this GK in the outer ring, but I think we also have a ship on the outer ring. And you can see that the enemy is gaining a points lead. Now, all they have to do, like this GK, he doesn't need to do what he's doing. He's pushing in, and all that is accomplishing for him is he's getting focused and getting damaged heavily by both myself and my teammates. I think we hit him for 11k, and we've got another salvo in the air on its way toward him. So he essentially threw away his ship for no reason. Now that the enemy has the center circle and the middle ring, all they need to do is put their ships in a position to stop our ships from pushing in. And their destroyers, if they're still in the Epicenter, should stay near the center so that they can provide spotting for any of our destroyers should they decide to push into the rings. And if the enemy team does this, they've captured the entire Epicenter circle right now. If the enemy team does this and doesn't play aggressively, again, all they have to do is stop us from pushing into the center. And of course, pushing into the center like this so late in the game with a larger ship, not really possible. Like if I were to push in there right now, I would be focused down on all sides from all the enemy ships out here. So really, again, all the enemy team has to do now that they hold the entire Epicenter is simply play it safe. Of course, they're not going to do that. They're going to win harder. But this is the reason I really don't like the Epicenter mode. Because if the enemy team were to play this right, that is, to play safe, there's really nothing we could do about this. Our destroyers would have to push in, they'd have to be at a disadvantage, and basically the points lead that the enemy team has, well, you can already see how much it's snowballing. They are nearly 200 points ahead of us right now. They're more than 100 points ahead of us right now. So if they just play safe, you know, this is their game to win and our game to lose. But they aren't going to do that. So you might want to take some advice from this enemy team if you find yourself in an Epicenter game, and that is not push all of your ships into a terrible position. This poor Bismarck out here, he's getting shot in the broadside from one of my teammates that has gone over to the flank. He really doesn't need to be taking this damage. He should probably pull forward and try to angle against these guys. We're chiming in, and we recognize that the enemy team's points lead is growing. It's very fast now, actually. So this snowball effect is present in Legends like it is on PC. You cannot allow the enemy to have these rings and the center. You have to have ships in here in order to keep it contested, or you will lose. If I didn't get into this ring along with my teammates who are now pushing in, it would only be a matter of time before the enemy team would win. I mean, they're already almost at 800 points, so time is of the essence here. We really need to get into these rings. Now, I'm leaving the outer ring, traveling into the middle ring. The destroyer behind me, I'm hoping he'll push into the center, but there is a Worcester right here, and that Worcester is going to, of course, be a problem. Radar cruiser and all that. We take aim at him, and it looks like our salvo here is going to be pretty juicy, and yes, it is. That's a triple citadel. That Worcester is almost dead, and he should be a one-shot kill, hopefully, for any battleship that chooses to shoot at him. But the rest of the enemy team is concentrated around this island. ZF6 behind me didn't quite realize he was there. He goes down, though, and basically, you can see the enemy has lost 4 ships. There's really no reason for this. Again, they have they did hold the entire epicenter, and we held nothing. It was incumbent on us to press in here and try to gain a footing within these capture rings in order to win this game. All the enemy had to do is not push in, but they just couldn't help themselves. There's a Stalingrad right there giving mostly broadside, and he gets chunked for it as well. We're going to have to turn a little bit more now so that we don't take punishment in return. Unfortunately, that is going to force us out of the middle ring, but our destroyer teammate is still inside of it, still flipping it, and we're contesting the outer ring now. Stalingrad comes around, gets blapped by the friendly Yamato and destroyed, and that just leaves 4 enemy ships left. So this is an interesting example of an Epicenter game where the enemy team starts off early by obtaining all the necessary requirements for a victory, and that is capturing the entire Epicenter circle, and then they throw away this advantage by pushing their ships into bad locations where they're subject to crossfire, and basically I think they were trying to win harder, and that is going to cause them to lose. Now, I know there are people who think the Epicenter game mode brings a lot of spice and variety to the game, I suppose, but I mean, I take the advice of the loading screens in this particular instance, where they say rushing into the center of the map is a poor tactic. The Epicenter game mode incentivizes everybody to rush into the center of the map. Now, really, all you need is for your destroyers to rush into the center of the map, and then the bigger, more visible ships should stay, further away from the center to shoot at anybody traveling into the center. But I just think this game mode is messy, and I don't like this crazy snowball effect with the points. And I don't like how difficult it is to retake the Epicenter after the enemy team has already taken it. Now, I'm saying this, and we had a very easy time retaking the entire Epicenter after the enemy team took it, but that is only because the enemy team did not play optimally here. It is not because, this game mode facilitates this kind of thing. It's just because the enemy team initially played it right by focusing on the objectives, and then after that subsequently played it very poorly by, I don't even know what they were doing with all their battleships and their cruisers and stuff, putting them in bad positions where they were exposed. Maybe they didn't have vision, maybe their destroyers weren't doing a good job of spotting, I don't know what it is, but the point is, this kind of snowball effect, it can be really, really frustrating. Like, if you're on the position of my teammates, and the enemy captures the center, and your destroyers sort of don't know what they're doing, and the enemy team is going to play well and play safe, well, it can feel like it's almost impossible to win. I much prefer the domination mode games or the capture the base mode games. I don't really care for these Epicenter matches. I don't think they encourage the best gameplay in this game for all the reasons I described. But you can let me know what you think of the Epicenter games in the comments. Do you like them? Do you think I'm completely wrong with this point of view about the Epicenter games, or are you frustrated with them? Have you found yourself in a situation like this where the enemy team was able to capture all of the rings and the Epicenter but didn't throw away their entire fleet for no discernible reason? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be curious to hear about it. Thank you so much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.